Hello, everyone. Here I am with a update on my final days and the time shortly after I no longer worked with Bright Horizons. Bright Horizons, as I told you, the last location I worked with was in this plaza. And, the last video I made, I explained that they told me that I was terminated after having me on a week unpaid leave. But I've already decided that day when I was falsely accused, attacked, and my supervisor acted unprofessionally, proved to me once again that she's a notorious liar, and everything that's not good. I realized then I was not going to come back. I already decided prior to that December would be the latest I worked there, because I've been putting off as I worked there whether I should stay there or not. I wanted more proof, and the more proof I had, I just know and was convinced that, this is not the place for me. I literally feel like I'll be sinning against God if I continue working with this place, because I'm convinced there are a lot of fraudulent act. There's a lot of dangers, like what I said, because I work with little children, babies to 4-year-olds. But my class was a 1.5-year-old to 2.5-year-olds. The danger, the negligence from other staff and people that they gave me to work with, and even the supervisors, and just the company itself. In my previous videos, which you can go back and see, there was a death of a child in the UK, because this is a large company that has lots of location all over the world. And they're like more in a corporate setting, and that's another thing that upset me. I'm someone who comes from a corporate background, so when I switched to this career field, and when I work with this particular company, and even prior to that, but especially to this, I could see a lot of things was more business. It's about making money. It was not about early childhood education. Some things are common sense when it comes to early childhood education, but some things, the training really helps the early childhood background, and definitely a sincere passion for children, early childhood years, children, infants to 7-year-olds are considered, I think up to 7 to 8-year-olds are considered early childhood. But I love the infants, and to about 3-year-olds, my favorite, and it's 4-year-olds, and maybe 5. That's my favorite. But I can work with older, but that's my preference, and that's come from experience, seeing that if they get the right people in the early years, this can really, really go all the way to their adult years, and can either be a good thing or a bad thing. So it's good that children get the right people from their babies. So sometimes people might, turn up their nose and say, oh, that's just daycare, that's just babysitting, whatever. No, if you're really educated in early childhood and you have a passion for early childhood years, you go beyond just watching and children. You are doing a lot of things. You know of things that you should be doing to motivate them, to help them reach your milestone, to teach them how to speak, to walk, to build their gross motor skill, their fine motor skills. And you see, these are terms I'm using that only if you're into early childhood you'll understand these terms. And there are a lot more terminologies that early childhood educators know of. And they intentionally will do things to help the children reach different levels, their highest potential, etc. The early childhood years are so detrimental, and that can affect anyone if they get the good or the bad. So it's important for them to get the good. So that's one reason too I choose early child, because I felt like I know I'm definitely passionate and genuinely care about the children. So I want to be one of the first person they come across. I know what to do to motivate them to make that child eventually learn how to read and write, and to build their various skills that they need to have: literature skill, literaries or literaries. I might have a tongue tie right now, but literary reading skills, their gross motor skill, their fine motor skills. I'm someone who's very, very observant and see what the child's skills are and what the child's gifts are, and try and build on that. Even in my lessons, if I know a child doesn't like to do a particular subject, if I know the child has something that he loves or she loves, I make sure I implement that to motivate that child. Unless that child is just, I have some serious difficulty and don't want to learn, or just have serious stuff that's beyond my capacity to help them. But like I said, the last straw with this place, and when I know this place is really evil, as I mentioned in my previous, I'm a middle-aged woman. I am doing this for 20 years. I have no criminal records. Contrary to what you may come across on the internet, I have no criminal record. Yes, people try to give me one, because people will try to set you up, will lie on you. And I have had incident back in years ago where people try to attack you, and you got to physically protect yourself. And if that means you got to do what you got to do to defend yourself, I will do it. That's the only thing you will ever find out about me, defending myself physically and otherwise, if I think I'm in danger. But you'll never find anything on me about fraud, stealing people's identity, stealing, defrauding people, deceiving people, cheating, stealing people's lunch, eating people's lunch, going in people's pocketbook, or stealing from a man's wallet. That's not I will never. God has just blessed me with a certain pride, and also I'm someone, because of the way I was brought up, certain things were instilled, my culture too, and the kind of parentage and the kind of home I grew up in. Some things are just no, and I cannot bring myself to ever do it. Even if I turn away from the faith I grew up in, there's some things I just will not do. I have had people give me their house keys, give me access to various vital information and valuables, because they trust me. I cannot say I can do the same with everyone, because I'm very good at picking up on people's spirit. And when I don't trust you, I don't trust you. This is one of the main reasons why I couldn't stay here. I did not trust my supervisors. I have seen them do fraudulent and dishonest thing. Like I mentioned in my previous videos, that they try to cheat me out of, when they keep claiming people have COVID and they're closing down, try to not pay me when I was not the one who would have COVID. And when the government has given any teaching facility, whether it's daycare, preschool, monies to cover expense, so you can still pay your staff if you have to close your door. And when I see they did that, I just knew that's another thing. Once I see certain things about you like dishonest like that, I am so disgusted. You're over with me. I'm over with you. I just can't when I see people do, especially when you're in a position where you don't need to do that. Sometimes I understand people do one and two things to survive, but when you do things that can hurt people, like steal their identity and use their card and run up bills on their card and steal from their wallet and steal their last bread, or you paying them you're paying them low wages, but you still steal some of the wages. That's very, very bad. So I'm somebody who is just turned off by certain things like that. I am just very upset when I see certain things go down. I really don't have tolerance tolerance. I don't know, I'm tongue tied today for certain behavior, and it's not like I'm self righteous. Some things I know is painful. When somebody steals your identity, you know how many work it takes and money to clear that. When someone steals your last dime, when you were living from paycheck to paycheck, that is very painful. So I'm someone who's just very some things is just a no-no for me, and I'm turned off, and I get very angry when I know if someone doing that to someone or somebody try to do that to me. I'm very angry. I get very angry, and I'm gonna come after you, and I'm gonna get you real good. And that's what I'm doing here. And it's not because I'm malicious or these people are wicked. I was telling another incident. The government of this particular state that I was working in, right, give my center, I think, or maybe every center or every daycare or preschool, monies, I think $1,000 to every teacher, whether you're from that state and you just work in that state or not. But you got to sign up on the site and do some training. And when they told me about it at the center, I told them, listen, I'm tired. This job alone give you training every month. I used to complain about the training, but eventually I started to appreciate it because it's kind of refresher. And when I see people are negligent and doing stuff, I said, the refresher is good. Sometimes you do forget certain things. So I don't mind doing refreshers, but I get very turned off when I see certain things like people like stealing money that the government say is supposed to be yours. And I had that incident too, where the government, the governor of this state said that you should sign up on this website, and they send you a link and stuff. I didn't do it because I keep telling them I don't have the time. It's too much training and stuff. I don't care if I lose this $1,000. And I remember telling them this because and I felt like they were switching it because they didn't want to give me a raise. So I'm like, no, I want the raise from you. I don't want this $1,000, and the money that you owe me is more than $1,000. So I didn't do it mainly too because of that, and also because they give you a lot of training already, and I'm kind of annoyed too because they give you a lot of training but they don't follow them. It's a double standard. It's some people can get away with it. They only use it when they have an agenda or when they want to get back at you and stuff. They only enforce it then, or when so it's just wrong reasons. So I also get sometimes offended that this place gives you lots of training to do every month. You got to go on this site and do all. So I said, I'm not doing this thing for the $1,000. But what my supervisor did, the director of this particular center did, she went ahead, and don't mind you see this picture say 2 years. That's exactly how it looks. She went ahead and signed up, created a user ID and a password for me. I feel the company also gets money from the governor. Why she push and do that? If I said I'm not doing it, that's my loss. And told me one day, I went ahead because a lot of people tell me that they couldn't set up their own user ID. I am very computer savvy. Although I'm a middle-aged woman, the computers came in existence when I was still a young person. So I'm very middle-aged people. A lot of us who are educated and went to school and stuff, we are computer savvy. We know how to use stuff, especially if we have training in that. And I have training in that, and I've worked in computers before I come to this field. So you don't need to set up nothing with, and that's very private to me. I get very turned off when people have access to my information like that. You don't set up nothing with user ID and stuff so I get money. So I look at her. That's when I look at her dishonest, but I look at her even more dishonest when she called me on Mother's Day to tell me on Mother's Day that they're closing down because of COVID, and because somebody has COVID, and I'm going to get paid for it when I know that the center and early childhood centers and daycares and preschools and schools get money from the government to pay their employee. So right away I knew that they were doing something dishonest. I knew they were doing something dishonest when last year when I was leaving the New York center because of this COVID rules and to come at the center, a parent leave a bag of gifts for me, and my director there at the center where I was coming from, who is not even a U.S. citizen, she's working off a worker's permit. That's another reason why I lost respect for them. This woman treated me so poorly when I got to the job, and I've seen now it's jealousy. You're not even you doesn't even have a green card, and this is why you were just mean to me from I started that location, cut my hours drastically. At that same center last December, when I was leaving to come to the center, they stole items out of the bag the parent leave for me because my hours were cut, so I used to come later in the morning when people were already there. And they stole stuff, and I knew because God has just blessed me to give of observation, and I saw that my bag looked rustly, like somebody rummaged through it. So I called the parent. As a matter of fact, I emailed the parents and I said, hey, such and such was in the bag, thank you for it. And so I named the items in the bag because I know she'll say whether or not such and such is missing. And that's exactly what she did. She said, oh, but such and such was in the bag too. And then my supervisor at the time downplayed it and, say she would have held somebody accountable if I didn't say nothing and blah, blah, blah. So I was very upset because I told them, listen, some of the people that I suspect who might have gotten the bag is people who are working with your sensitive information. How do I know these people are not stealing your identity too? And that's something so I know the company too doesn't like me because I even wrote them about that. And I complained that this is disgraceful. How come a big company like that have people stealing, and there are people in the admin and people who can be your supervisors who are stealing? So I really got disgusted mainly from that, but even before that. But those were the main reasons. And, like I said, the stuff with the COVID, this woman called me on the Mother's Day to tell me I was not, that week they're closing, the week following, the Monday following of that week of Mother's Day closing, and they won't be paying me, and which I know they get money. So that's why I knew they were dishonest. And the time when they stole stuff from the bag that the parents gave to me, and there people have come up to me before when I was in New York saying that they found that, their cards, their debit cards are missing and stuff was stolen. People use it up because they leave their bags all over the place. They didn't like me because everywhere I go, I walk with my bag. Because guess what? You're going to give me a locker. You don't give me a locker with drawer or a desk with drawer and keys. I am going to walk with my bag because that's my right. I have cops came to my job, one of my jobs when I was working in corporate years ago, and explained that you should give you a lock and key wherever you work. People, especially if it's a job where all the different people are coming in and out, you can, and that's a sign that the company don't care about you. If they don't give you somewhere where you can, and then my job has claimed they don't have, that's what they claim, they don't have no cameras. I've worked in a lot of other preschool and daycare, and they have cameras all over. They only have camera, like, I guess, just for the front door, and somebody ring the door right here in the front. They claim they have no cameras. I've seen little lights in the ceiling before, and they claim it's not camera. And so that's one thing I look at them strange, that this is a daycare. Every daycare in preschools I have worked with have cameras. Why you don't have camera in the classroom and you just iron anybody? This is why they are all over the internet with all these lawsuits and stuff, and I think that's a sign they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want any evidences and then proof. If you have camera, you gotta have. They don't want to have no proof. No evidence. This is why they don't like when I write emails, because it's too much of any evidence. So back to other reason why I'm disgusted with this place, and what really led up to me to be very disgusted with them is when they told me that I'm not going to work there anymore. And I said, listen, I sent them an email. I said, listen, I wasn't coming back to the cesspool anyway. This place, I found a lot of things about this place. This place is disgusting. This place is a mess. And I don't want to come there. I wasn't planning on coming back anyway, etc. That same week, was a Friday, that Friday, I went to work with I went to see one or two of the parents where I'm sure you're going to wonder where I am, and I want them to know I'm okay and what happened. So because I know these parents, they will lie to them and make it seem I went on a vacation. The parents will give them a gift and they will steal it. I know that, and it's not even about the gift, but I want one or two parents that I know I have close relationship with. Majority of the parents that I had, they already left. their children were due to go to the next class, and they took them out. A lot of them left for out of my class. Right now, they have about 4 or 5 kids in my classroom that are new kids. So that's another reason. Most of the kids that I have worked with is gone. Now, another thing too, this is one of my work. This is one of my lessons that they have on their Facebook. And I'm sure after this, they're going to take it down, because I sure have spies on here working for them, or people read, or they on here watching my videos. But this is some of my creation in the summer, because God has blessed me with creativity, and I am very creative. This is actually footprints in the sand. This is me who make a sand of different colors and paint the child's foot and put it in there and created this. And this is a sand with his footprint, because his sand was brown, it's not so clear. Maybe if you have a big screen, you'll see clearer, you'll see his footprints. And he made a boat in the sun. And this is, God has just blessed me. And they're quick to put my work up, to brag and boast about my work. And then you turn around, gave me an award, and then turn around and trying to make me seem like a criminal. And why? This was the last straw. When I came that Friday, when they told me I'm no longer working there, which I wasn't going to come back anyway. That same week, which was about the 28th, I stopped by, and I was sitting in the plaza, because there's a plaza here. I sit in the plaza, and when I sit in the plaza, right, when I sit in the plaza, here's the plaza, I was at the plaza, I was sitting there. When I sit in the plaza, and of the building, I sit in the plaza. They went They went ahead and told the men who were the security people walking around that I guess I don't know what lie they told me. All I know, I'm sitting there waiting to see one or two of my parents. Discreetly, was far away from their entrance, far away from the building, and not from the building, but from the entrance, because this is in the plaza, and the plaza has other seating area and stuff. And one of the security guy came up to me and said, "Call my name." So I'm wondering why this man know my name right away. I know they told him something. So I said, "Well, how you know my name? You can't be here," he told me. I said, "Why not? I have not committed any crime. I know my supervisors unjustly and wrongfully put me on unpaid leave and then terminated me. And now they're telling you that I can't be there. Why? What grounds? This is my civil rights." And this plaza, people tell me, not just the people, because I went as far as complaining to the CEO of the company after this happened, because this man tell me I have to leave, otherwise he's going to call the cops. And I wasn't going to call the cops too, because I was confident that I'm not doing anything wrong. So my phone was going dead and I couldn't call the cops. So he happened to call the cops before me. And at one point I went outside to stand up along the boardwalk, and he told me, "Oh, you can't be on the boardwalk either. You can't be on the boardwalk either because you can't be on the boardwalk either because it's still the front of the building." So I said, "That's even worse. I'm outside. You were telling me I can't be outside, And this was just so we were back and forth, arguing, to me in a decent way. And he was telling me, "Oh, I can't be there," and stuff, and telling me I can't be there. And I was outside standing up waiting to see if I see one of my parents or two. And the cops came, and I told them what happened. And of course, they're lazy, and either they're lazy or don't know the law. Tell me I can't be there if they say. So I said, "Listen, you can't tell me I can't be here. I'm not. This is my civil rights. This is a plaza that has super stores in there, restaurants, eyeglass places. You can get your eyeglasses, flower shop, acupuncture therapist there. You're telling me I can't do business in here?" No. So I got very upset, and I was like, "No, you're wrong. This is my civil rights. You can't tell me I can't be here." So I decided to call a couple of police stations and to complain. You see, it look pretty, it look inside, but it's nothing like this. It looks good, but it's nothing. These people are just a fraud. They make the place look all enticing. And for that, on that note, I had a new parent, because when a new prospective parents want to come, you do a video conference with them, I guess, since COVID. So we do it and walk around, show them the room, show them the exterior, show them the playground, etc. And when I speak to her, she was upset because she said on their website and everything, they make it seem like all the classroom, or you can see the water and outside, because they're like on by the water and the ocean. And it's not my classroom. My classroom, they put me in a classroom that has no windows. I'm between the gym and the lunchroom. The lunchroom, you have no door, but the gym has a half a door, and the gym door, a lot of times I have to leave open so I can get fresh air. That's how I get fresh air in the gym, from the gym, and they've been promised me to put me in this class where I can see the ocean and they have the nice sunlight, and they haven't done it. They got a new teacher and put her in there. So from then I knew they were no good. And then she didn't even stay, she left. But that's it. You see, karma, the world will call it karma, but that's God for you. Whatever you put out, they will come back. And they had to close the classroom. She says she's going on vacation, some personal time off. I don't know who it is, but I know they were giving her a hard time too, because one day I saw her and she was very distraught because of the demands. They expect her to leave exactly 6 o'clock, and she has all this stuff and lots of list of stuff for you to do. And she was very upset about it. And I tell her, listen, don't kill yourself. Do the best you can. You know in your heart you're doing the best, and leave it at that. Don't let them stress you out, because the Department of Health rule, when you work with early childhood, the Department of Health is the people oversee it. There are guidelines. The policy is you're supposed to wash the children's toys. These are little babies who are drooling. Sometimes they have a cold. So you're supposed to wash and sanitize. They want you to leave exactly 6 o'clock if that's your cutoff time. And when are you going to do these things? So a lot of times that's why they were all of the breakout. When I was in New York City working, twice we had the mouth and foot disease in my classroom. And one of the reasons for that, because nobody was cleaning and washing up after. Nobody was cleaning up. And then when you try to do it, they envy the money. They think you're going to make money, so they don't pay you the overtime you make, or they deducted it from your time sheet at the end when they're doing pay thing. Or they keep stressing you out. You go home. Only one supervisor I had, and it was a male. Always a male. From my working in most of the industry, the best supervisor I have, and so I saw for the males are males. The best supervisors are usually males. The women are the one who are catty, and I'm not saying all women, but from my experience, who are envious, who are biased and stuff. The men. I have a Caucasian guy who was filled with tattoo, but he was the only one who said, stay back and do what you got to do. Don't worry about it. And he pays me. All the others deduct me. That's why I know it was not set in stone. It is the supervisors who covet what you're making. He was the only one who will tell me, stay back and clean up. Twice in New York City, my classroom, the toddler classroom I was working when I was an assistant there, they had mouth and foot disease, because several times I found gloves in the clean gloves that we're supposed to be using to change the children often, and with poop on it. Somebody used it and put it back. Either they're doing it intentionally or they're not careful and put back dirty gloves with poop on it, and what you mix up with the clean gloves. So no wonder things like that happening. And then you have people who don't wash their hands between changing children and handling their food. They have habits sometimes eating and giving the children with the same hand they're putting at their mouth. Currently I was having that with the new Caucasian assistant that they gave me at this center. She was touching the children's food, breaking with her hands, not washing hands, and showing favoritism to one Caucasian boy that was in the class at the time. Now they may have two Caucasian kids since I left, but one Caucasian. Most of the people at this direct area was Indian and Asian. And I see she treated this one Indian boy so poorly. You will be doing the same thing that the Caucasian will be doing, and she will be reprimanding the Indian little boy. And one day I became very suspicious, but because I have nobody who I know will enforce things and be on my side, the child twice was just zone out, because she was complaining he was too active and stuff. And then she confessed to me that, her mother used to give her brother some kind of drug. One of her brothers was very active, and he would just go in a zombie-like state and then go fall asleep. And that's exactly what happened to the little boy shortly after she told me that. So I feel strongly that she gave these people's children something, because when we contact the parents, they did not give him any medication, and nothing like that. So that's another reason why I don't trust this woman. Then she lied on me a lot, and disrespectful, and definitely is racist. But the last straw is when these people call the cops on me, and I call the internal affair on them. I call and I even called the building center, and they were very upset that this security should not tell me I can't leave, because they don't give them authorization to do that. I didn't do anything that warrant that. And when you see people like to call